right after, if everything is all right on the YouTube Live and LinkedIn. Not been
And
able to
this,
change the meeting number, unfortunately. So on LinkedIn and YouTube, we're gonna, change it later on. It's still number 3.
okay. And
So
this
we
time we
are
should have
we are live.
some improvements. We should have the chats on the YouTube video because we found the magic options.
You're right. You're right. And let's check it out, by the way.
And I think, yes, I can check. We are live. Okay. And let's try if I can chat.
We are live, but I cannot chat on myself. Still saying to me that I need to create a channel to join the chat.
So I have sent the first message on the chat. It's just hello world. Let me know.
I saw your message on YouTube chat, but
Yeah.
I,
You are
I
not able
cannot
to add your own.
I cannot add I cannot connect to the chat myself. YouTube is saying to me that I need to create a channel to join the chat. So guess there's still a setting to update maybe. So I think it's certainly the same for all the people who are gonna watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
But in any case, we have a few minutes. We are a few minutes in advance, so let's wait and see if any community members are joining us.
So you say you have to create a channel. What is a channel? So channel dashboard. Okay. I can see that we are broadcasting video at the moment.
Yeah.
I have also tried to push a new message using my personal YouTube account, Laurent Baudou, and not the Microcks one.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let me see if we live stream is on LinkedIn as well, but YouTube is fine. Yeah, LinkedIn is okay as well. So we're live
okay.
everywhere.
So for people who will watch the recording, if any of you are aware how to enable the chat for all the different attendees, let us know how to do this because at the moment it's still a mystery.
The chat on YouTube.
The chat on YouTube, yes. Channel, advanced settings. Okay, so previously we set the channel as not made for kids, so that according to documentation, it should enable the comments and the chats, but looks like it is not enough.
Can you see the on YouTube as the admin, the channel admin? Can you see if people are watching live on YouTube? Because if yes,
Mm,
you should see me, for example.
yes, I saw the amount of live viewers, and so there is another live viewers. So
So certainly me.
it
So
should be, yeah.
if you see another one coming, just ask him to if he can put something in the chat just to know if it's only me. And then in this case, don't know why. But yeah, all right. We'll keep going on improving that. Lucky that we are better regarding Microcks project than influencer and doing YouTube live stuff and so on. So, but we're learning every day. All right, so 6 let's wait maybe one additional minute, sorry, just in case someone else is coming. Otherwise, and as usual, we have plenty of good news information to share, especially today, because we just release and launch a great blog post that Laurent has written in order to explain all the good stuff and the new goodies within the version release 1.11.0. I mean, and maybe we're gonna say a few words on that, but this one came, I'm not gonna say late or a few months after the others, but we took more time on this one, and maybe that's also something on which we can provide more explanation, just in case the communities would like to know why. So I think we can start. Let's see if someone is joining, but I think Laurent, let's start with this good news, new release.
Yeah. So we sent the post on the social networks, I think it was 20 minutes ago, and the 1.11 is now released. So it's now out for you to use in a everyday basis. And just it has been announced also on the homepage of the website. It has been updated yesterday, just to check that everything was okay. And so you can see now there is the 1.11 has just been released.
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen here. So on the microcks.io website, as you can see, 1.11 is here. You can also retrieve it because that's within the blog post. And here it is. And voila.
Exactly. Excellent. So as you said, Yassine, this one lasts a bit more time than the previous one. Usually we used to release a new major version each and every 3 or 4 months, but this time it takes 6 months. Not because there was not enough feature to send out to the world, but maybe because we take a lot of time and we put a lot of efforts on enhancing and securing the way we build Microcks and the way we deliver Microcks. So we can start maybe having a tour of the different new features, and then we'll go back to this point, providing details on what we are doing differently and what kind of validation of security, of traceability information we have put in the release process. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the major theme around this release is the one of validation, and one set of big features we added is this ability to now have a validation of the API consumer side of things. Because previously, when we started Microcks, we wanted to have a very low entry barrier for people who wanted to use Mox. And most of the time, as an API provider, that's also what you are looking for, because you want people to be able to discover, to play around with your different API endpoints Mox very easily without any constraints. But as a provider, and also as an API consumer, you want to be sure that the way you are consuming an API is actually correct, is actually the way it is expected to be. So that's why we have added this set of features in the 1.11. So typically, now, as a consumer, you will have this ability to check that what you send to the microserver is actually conformant to the specification. So for that, we have added different things. We have added this ability to have parameter constraints. That means that automatically, depending on your API specification, Microcks will put additional constraints for example, mandatory parameters or mandatory headers that should be provided by the consumers. And if they are not present, the consumer now receive a 400 HTTP response code indicated that there is a malformed request. And we have now also this ability to specify some of the constraints, like, for example, type constraints, like regular expression constraints, and so on, using different formats like our own OpenAPI extension or our API metadata format. Because previously, you had this ability to do this also, but you had to go through the web console UI, you had to go through the API calls to put those constraints. Now you can just declare them within your artifacts, and they will be automatically added to the runtime behavior of your mock endpoints.
Yeah, and
So
correct me if I'm wrong, but it's new metadata that's been added for this purpose in order to do this declaration and use it efficiently in the same specification.
yes, exactly. Previously, on the API metadata format, you'll have this ability to provide labels, to provide a dispatching strategy and dispatcher rules. Now you also have this ability to provide constraints via this API metadata format. So maybe you can just open the
Yeah.
documentation. Yes. So previously we had this set of properties, delay, dispatcher rules, this kind of stuff. And if you are going down, I have added another example. Yes. Here, just right here, you have this ability to also add parameter constraints. So for example, you can just, yes, give details that your incoming request should have an authorization header that should be matching this regular expression, for example. And you can also say that your incoming request must have, for example, a traceability identifier, like it was used before in OpenTelemetry or in a previous version of this specification. And so typically, you have this ability to say that the header, the X request ID header is mandatory, and Microcks will pass it back in the response where it is present in the incoming request. So now, yes, extended capabilities for specifying parameter constraints directly within the API metadata format. Okay. So you can go back maybe on the blog post, Yassine.
Yeah. Just lost. Here it is.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, it is. So the features I've described until now are for parameters, but what about payload? And you know that sometimes the parameters are correct, but the payload can be malformed because of JSON serialization issues, because of the consumer relying on an outdated specification or whatever. And so in this case, the API consumers was previously blind to its own errors. And now we have this ability to provide a new endpoint that will do the incoming request full validation, including the body payload. So typically, on the UI, you will have a new toggle just right next to the mock URL field. So by default, you have access to the existing endpoint that is the raw endpoint, the one that don't perform any body validation. But you may choose to use the valid endpoint, and this time it is an endpoint that perform validation on incoming request. Okay, and so typically with this little example here I've provided in the release notes. Let's imagine you are, yes, calling this operation for updating the price of your favorite pastry, but instead of providing a float number of an integer number, you're providing a string. And so according to the JSON schema, you will have an error. So previously, this was silent. You didn't see the error. And now using the new validation enable endpoints, you received a 400 response telling you that the string does not match the allowed types. Okay? So it gives you very helpful insights on what to fix to have something that will be correct and conformant to the schema.
Yeah, and welcome, Idris. Correct me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. So welcome, welcome on a community meeting, and feel free to interrupt or ask any question if you have some.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so this new URL, you need to tick it on the UI, and then the good point again is you are able, based on two different type of URL and purpose, to create workflow or anything within your CI/CD, or use it as a consumer, you know, the way you need or would like, based on what you would like to check or validate.
Yeah.
So that's very efficient to have not a mix of match of everything on the same URL, but have dedicated URL for different purpose, let's say.
Yes, exactly. And this completes the set of features of Microcks, providing here some kind of contract testing, but for the consumer side. You know, until now, when we said contract testing in Microcks, it was contract testing of the provider. We wanted to be sure that the endpoints that represent the API implementation were correct regarding the spec. And here it's much more contract testing, but for the consumer. I mean, we are checking that what the consumer is sending is actually conformant regarding what is expected by the API implementation. So that's a nice complement of already existing features in Microcks.
Yeah, and it clearly fill a gap. And as you said, Laurent, I think that's important. That people understand that now you can be provider driven or consumer driven, or mix and match, or use both through the same tool.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you can focus on either provider conformance or consumer conformance. That's very, very interesting. So those features have been made available for REST endpoint, but also for SOAP endpoint. But they were already there for gRPC endpoints and, let's say, partially for GraphQL endpoints. So we have to do some other extending tests for GraphQL, but the consumer validation is partially implemented already in existing GraphQL endpoints. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay. Okay, let's continue maybe with some very noticeable gRPC enhancements. So one interesting thing we've saw these last few months is that I think gRPC is really gaining popularity, and we have more and more users, adopters in the community who are playing around, doing things with Microcks for gRPC. And typically, the three features I put in the release notes are coming directly from users of the community. These are contributions suggested and implemented by people in the community. So really nice to have this kind of discussion and contribution for big features. So the first two ones are tightly related. They are about the support of metadata or headers in gRPC, okay? Because until now, headers were not at all used and parsed by Microcks. We just ignored them, but we were just focusing on the body payload. Okay, we were dealing with security-related headers, but it was just these just headers we were taking care of. So now with these new features, we are taking care of that all the different headers. And one thing we are doing in mocking is that we are able to retrieve these headers to inject them into your dispatching logic. So typically it could be like an advanced Groovy script that can be used to analyze the gRPC headers values to find the most appropriate response, for example. And the feature number two is about also using these gRPC headers for testing purpose. So if you have gRPC service implementation that also relies on incoming request headers, this is now something you can test. So Microcks is able to get the different headers you are specifying when running your test and inject them, pass them to the target endpoints you are actually testing. And so I would say that now headers are really first-class citizens in the contract test in gRPC, like we did before with the body payload and so on. So really nice to have these additional features.
Yeah, clearly.
And finally, the third one,
And maybe Laurent,
yeah,
just before, let's also thanks Bitso, our public adopter, for the very nice blog post that they have created with
yeah,
amazing explanation and again regarding gRPC and their usages. So please read it, check it out. It's very, very detailed and nice blog post. So thanks a lot to Bitso for this type of contribution as well, because that's also what we need as a community. I mean, gaining any visibility, showcasing what you're doing with Microcks is just amazing. So thanks a lot and check it out. It's within the release note, or you can find it on Medium. If you search for Microcks, you'll find it immediately. And then, and last but not least, as you said, Laurent, and that's also the explanation on maybe why this release was not going to say longer than expected, because clearly that was a community decision as well, but
yeah, but
why it took us longer than the previous releases, let's say.
no, but just before that time, I missed a
Ah,
point on the gRPC, and
okay,
that's where also it's about the Bitso contribution, the third point.
you're right.
Okay,
Mm.
the third point is also interesting because it, to me, demonstrates the growth in popularity of gRPC, but also in maturity. So until now, when we were mocking gRPC with Microcks, we were only mocking the happy pass. Yeah, I mean a response where everything was okay and it was the equivalent of the 200 response in pure REST APIs. But thanks to Bitso contribution also, you now have this ability to also simulate failures and errors on gRPC implementation. So that's really nice because now you have this ability to simulate edge cases when you want to check how your consumer application behaves when it receives error responses from a remote gRPC endpoint. So can be very painful too.
And you can describe that within the Microcks API example format,
Yes,
which is
yes,
another amazing feature that's gaining a lot of attention, let's say.
yes. Most in a gRPC world as well, because
Yeah.
yeah, people our users who are using gRPC in Microcks really loved it because very easy for them to edit examples in an API examples file.
Clearly.
And so, yeah, regarding the features, we also have a lot of different features, but improvements that are worth noting just below. So we'll see if we had the time to get through them, but yeah, maybe we can just, yes, explain stuff on the software supply chain.
Mhm. Yeah, which is, let's say, the hottest topic,
Yes,
maybe.
yes. So as you may know, software supply chain security is very hot topic this last month. Maybe not the most glamorous part of of your project, but you have to take care of this, and especially because among our different adopters, there are a lot of big banks, telcos, but also public organizations that really take care about this topic. And as you may imagine, it's also a very hot topic within the CNCF. So started in latest August, we studied different things like community best practice, like the Salsa project as well, to yes start to assess what could be the different improvement enhancements we have to put into Microcks. And basically, we've changed, not to say we change everything, but we put traceability, auditability, integrity guarantees at every levels of the CI/CD pipelines of the supply chain. So in a nutshell, we started with dependencies management, tracking vulnerabilities, setting up all the tools to get up-to-date security insights and recommendations on how to upgrade more frequently the different dependencies. We also worked a lot on removing what they called dangerous workflows. I mean, be sure that the CI/CD pipelines just have the right permission levels for the different actions, but also be sure that we are using, we have pinned all the versions of all the different package actions we are using so that we have a fully reproducible build. We worked a lot of automating the release process, and we used a fantastic tool that is called gRelease. Okay, so maybe you know Go release on in the Golang ecosystem, but we also have now gRelease that is written in Java, and that is to me a Go releaser on steroids. So thanks to gReleaser, we have automated everything. And basically, for all the things related to source packages, we have also implemented signing of release package everywhere, signing of checksums everywhere, and providing of software bills of materials, you know, these huge JSON files that are tracking all the dependencies that are used by your development tools, but your runtime software and so on, so that a user of Microcks will have the full details on how we are building it and what are the different tools, libraries, versions, and so on we are using during the development. So that was already huge, but that was just the first part of the process, because taking care of this at the source level is nice, but most of the, and not most, but all our users and adopters are in fact not using the source code, but using the container images we are providing, or you know the equivalent of the binary packages. And so we have to do the exact same kind of things at the binary level as well as the container image level as well. And so typically now during the process of building a different image, we have done exactly the same thing, signing everything using a SIG-store, using also an identity that is tied to our build process on GitHub. So this is a verifiable identity that can be tracked, that can be audited. So you have this confidence that all the signatures are coming from this identity. And on top of that, we have also worked on providing SBOM at the binary level, software bills of materials at the binary level, at the runtime level, and some provenance attestation from the SARSA specs as well. And last and not least, we have also put all the different artifacts we are providing on a repository that is called Artifact Hub. Artifact Hub being the CNCF official artifact repository.
Oh, I have an issue to create.
Okay, the dead link.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think I just have should have put a relative link and not okay. We'll fix that. So, but now you will see that, yes. Basically, yes, it will lead you to this page. You will see that not this one, but the other one. All the packages are now on Artifact Hub. And you can see that we have all the badges, this one, with CNCF signed, verified, and official publisher of those different packages. So I think for our users, our adopters, these are great guarantees that they have this ability of just, yes, getting the official packages. They have this ability to verify everything under the hood, check by themselves that everything is correct, that it comes from the official source for Microcks packages. But yeah, lot of work for doing that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of background work, which is sometimes for the people who are not, let's say, using that invisible, but it's a lot of value and commitment from the maintainers to take care about security, transparency, and ensure that that you can, let's say, rely on Microcks and take care about all the security aspects. As Laurent said, that was a long process and it's still not finished. It's a long journey. It's something that we have started close to 7 months ago. And at KubeCon North America, we also realized that security on all these points were clearly under the spotlight. I mean, we have had a very nice presentation, and during the keynotes, we're completely focused on generating SBOM, taking care about as an adopter about the security of your supply chain and how you can verify it. I remember a very nice presentation from Microsoft on this point, which was very, very, let's say, technical and advanced on that, and clearly give us very nice ideas, and also, confident on the fact that we're on the right track, let's say. So we are very proud and happy to have been able to release all this new good stuff related to security and project health, because that's very something we are taking care about. So tell us what you think about it. Tell us if you integrate, within your security supply chain, any of that. We'll be more than happy to, let's say, heard about adopters who are, let's say, leveraging that within their facilities.
And maybe one last point, but I think it's important to notice that it's not a one-shot effort. I mean, we also set up a tool that is called CLO Monitor, and I think I put the link into the reads note. Yes.
Yes.
And typically CLO Monitor, and you can have access to this report. This is fully public and transparent. But CLO Monitor has helped us the latest months to track our progress, to check we were improving at each and every weeks. And it will stay there for a long time just to also be sure that we will not drift in the future. The CNCF is also regularly adding new checks into CLO monitor, new rules, new best practice to conform. So it will stay there for a long time, and it will help us to be sure we still really we have a strong focus on these security concerns.
It's
We've
also
lost your
something, yeah, I don't know why. I'm not going to move my screen and play around, but my webcam is dead.
Okay,
So let me figure it out. But at
but
least you
I
can
can,
hear me.
yes, and I can
Cool.
share my screen as well. So maybe
Yeah, if you
wanted
can share
to
it, I'm
show
gonna try
you.
to.
Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So typically, yes, this is the CLO monitor dashboard for Microcks. And one thing also, sorry about the important thing to notice, but one thing is that we've done this not just for the main repo, but for all the different repository in the Microcks organization. So typically, it could be for the test container library, the one dedicated to Node.js. It could be for example, the CLI. Okay, it could be for whatever package we are providing. We have set up CLO monitor to monitor that and to be sure that we are just ticking the checkbox for each and every item related, for example, to security, to best practice regarding how we are managing release, how we are managing uh, contributor license agreement, this kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
I think that's
I
nice.
think I think you can see me now. Sorry for that.
Yes. Get your video back.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very important and hot topic. So it's quite amazing. And as you've noticed maybe on CLO Monitor, because we had that conversation on CLO Monitor at the previous community meeting. But the other important point is, as you can see, the number of repo, because we have decided to, let's say, do it the hard way by adding all the Microcks organization repos, which are of use for, or I mean, available through the organization, but all the project, everything related to Microcks is checked by CLO Monitor, which means it's again a strong commitment on the fact that we would like to improve the project health and all the security stuff related to it. And that's why that's something we are working on for months and months and months. And as Laurent said, we're gonna keep going because it's a journey. It's not a once one action that is close and finished. Never ending
Mm.
story. But our commitment as well. Maybe you've seen that we are at 100% for all the repos, and security, especially on some repos which are brand new, need to be updated to be able to reach the 100%. So that's something we are working on and should be done in the coming weeks or months, but at least we're going to take care about that.
Mm. Sure. Okay.
Good. I mean, that's a great overview regarding all the new goodies and features, and also quite a lot of brand new links within the documentation. And maybe, Laurent, because you also have added new documentation today, I don't know if you would like to discuss about that right now or share to the community the
Yeah.
new stuff that are already online.
Yes, sure. So let me share my screen again. In fact, I've prepared some stuff. Okay. So one thing I wanted to come back on is new release of our test containers modules as well. So it was announced last week. So we didn't have a community meeting since the announce. And last week we released the 0.3 versions of the different test containers module for Java, for Golang, for Node.js as well. And here again, we have some nice enhancement. I think we have three different points. So the first one is that using these libraries, you have now the ability to check the interaction. I mean, previously you have the ability to provide mocks, okay, for mocking your third-party dependencies during your integration test, for example. But what you want to do most of the time is be sure that your application has actually called these third-party dependencies. Or maybe it has not called a third-party dependency because of any caching logic you want to implement. But it can be really interesting to be able to verify if the mock has been called and maybe how many times it has been called. Specifically, if you are implementing cache logic, okay? And so typically now you have this new function, this new method available. You can verify that an interaction has been done, or you can get the number of invocation that has been done on a specific mocks. And so it's really easy in this kind of situation to assess within your test that, for example, this API/products endpoint has been called 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. Okay? Very easy to do so. Second new feature is this ability also to get access to the messages when you have performed the contract testing. So previously, you can write a test and ask Microcks to act as a consumer of your application and verify that the response you get from those applications was actually conformant to a schema. But behind being conformant to a schema, you maybe wanted to check business conformance. I mean, be sure that you have the correct answers. Not only that the JSON is well formed, for example. And so now you have this ability from a test to also ask Microcks to provide you, to give you the messages corresponding to a previous test. And so it allows you to, yes, to put some other additional assertions to check the business conformance. And typically, this is very helpful if you want to run this integration test, this conformance test, and couple them with some of the frameworks like, for example, Cucumber, when you have some business people that have written fixtures that have described business rules or business constraints and want to be sure that these ones are actually correctly implemented. So you can first run a Microcks test to check that you are conforming to the schema at the syntactic level, and then you can retrieve the messages and delegate the validation to a framework like Cucumber to check all the business related stuff, checking you have the correct response for your computation or whatever. Okay, so really interesting to have this ability to mix best of both worlds, Microcks plus Cucumber plus other framework. And the latest new feature we added is this ability to do, let's say, kind of the same thing, getting the messages related to a test case. But in this case, it is the messages that are related to an asynchronous API test case. Okay, so let's imagine you are testing your application here in green. You want to be sure that your application is actually publishing events, for example, on the Kafka topic. Okay, so previously you can do that very easily using Microcks, because Microcks is also listening to the topic and is able to tell you at the end of the test, okay, we have received some messages on the Kafka topic and those messages were correct regarding the async API schema. But now you can also do the same things. Ask Microcks for getting all the details regarding the messages that were received on the Kafka topic, and then here again, delegate some additional checks to whatever code you want, whatever framework you want to now this time check also yes, the data that were provided within your asynchronous event. So very helpful to do this kind of stuff. And so we released those 3 features for, as I said before, Java, Go, but also Node.js TypeScript libraries. So yeah, one nice new thing, test containers libraries. You were talking about documentations, Yassine?
Yeah. Again, work
Again.
in progress, but never-ending story.
Yeah, but this week we released 2 new tutorials and guides.
Yeah.
The first one is about starting with async API for Kafka. Okay. We were missing a very, let's say, startup level tutorials for async API. We had complex demonstrations, but they were a bit too complex, to be honest. And so we wanted here to write a very simple tutorial. So this is now done, explaining how to start up with a simple async API contract using async API version 3. Okay. And then iterating and adding, for example, a new basic operation that allows you to send new events related to a pet creation in your pet store, whatever. Okay. And explaining how you can use that and how you can have Microcks that provides mock message for you, that generates mock message for you on your Kafka topic. Okay. So we try to make things very straightforward, very easy, and very iterative in the way of doing things. So feedback is more than welcome here. Let us know what you think about it and if it's actually easy or not to understand. And the second guides we provide this week is about our new Kubernetes operator. Okay, we talked about it a few weeks ago in a community meeting and also did a demonstration of it. And here we wanted to put an installation guide explaining how to set up the operator, how to deploy the operator in your Kubernetes cluster, and also how to create basic resources provided by the operator. So typically, you'll see here how you can install and deploy a Microcks instance with the default options. And you can see that now with this new version of the operator, this is really straightforward. You just have 3 different properties, what version you want, on what URL you want to expose the different services, Microcks and Keycloak for the authentication. Okay. And we also provide introductions on how to use our new custom resources, because now with this new operator, you have this ability to be 100% GitOps approach, just using the Kubernetes API to load content within your Microcks instance, to manage content within your Microcks instance, so that you don't have to to learn the specific Microcks API, to use the CLI, or to use the web UI, just using pure Kubernetes resources to to load and to sync everything into your Microcks instance. So here I gave an example on how to use the API source resource that allows you to load artifacts and importers into Microcks. And we also have the secret source resource that allows you to load secrets or to synchronize secrets from your Kubernetes cluster within Microcks instance, so that Microcks will be able to access secured remote repositories or secured brokers you want to launch some contract test on, whatever. So this is very also handy to use this construct so that the secrets you may already have in Kubernetes, that maybe also come from a vault or whatever, can be also synchronized automatically within your Microcks instance. So brand new
That's huge.
brand new guides. Please give us feedback. Tell us what you think about it. Is it easy to understand? Is it easy to read? Straightforward or too complicated? Let us know what you
Yeah.
think.
Just regarding this operator, that's clearly a very important enhancement because again, this is clearly coming from the community feedback and especially adopters feedback, and especially let's say the one who are using Microcks as a backend service in order to provide, for example, a sandbox as a service ready to deploy in a fully automated way to expose mock and sandboxes on their developer portal, for example. So that's very, very powerful and efficient. That's what has been used, by the way, if you check the communication that we have done with Traffic, they are promoted a sandbox as a service approach. And guess what? It's using, of course, and it's within the documentation, release note, and press release. It's using Microcks as a backend service, but especially this operator, which is doing all the magic stuff in order to do everything fully automated. And last but not least, and I think it's important to highlight that as well, it's written in the release note, the 1.11, but the previous operator, which was based on Ansible and was, let's say, I'm not going to say basic, but it was clearly not GitOps oriented like this one is able to do. It's going to be decommissioned, which means we're not going to enhance or do any changes on it. Please use this new operator because that's taking over the previous version, which is way, way, way more advanced and flexible. So as Laurent said, feedback is welcome because that's huge, and we're gonna communicate really more on this new operator and all the capabilities it unlock, let's say.
Yes. Next step would be to create some nice demonstration using, as we said before, a full GitOps approach. So we are looking for candidates who want to create a new demonstration using Argo CD or Flux or whatever. But it could be really nice here to showcase this in a new demo.
Yeah, and also very nice integration with some platform engineering tools. We have some stuff which are under cooking on that, and again, it's going to use the operator.
Yes.
So that's going to be an amazing year related to platform engineering, automation, GitOps, and thanks to this new operator. We also have a question in the chat from Idris regarding any plans to organize a Microcks virtual conference, Alpha Day or full day. Clearly and honestly, we don't have that much bandwidth to take care about an event dedicated to Microcks today. I'm not saying that it's not something that we can manage with the community, But today we have more decided, let's say, to rely on a well-known event worldwide. As you may have noticed, we are going to KubeCon North America. We're going to be in KubeCon Europe in London, and plenty of other events. We are clearly targeting some developer events for this year, and maybe and ideally events where we never showcase if it's possible. So back to your point, Dries, not planning to do a dedicated Microcks conference today, but may come. We are more than happy to join the async API conference in multiple countries if it's possible. Last year we have done India and of course Paris, because as you know, Laurent and I are living in France, so that's easier for us. But if you something that you would like to help to set up, feel free to engage and chat with us about that, because that's going to be awesome, of course. But we're going to need much more help from the community to make it happen clearly, because we know that it's very, very time consuming.
Yeah, and to be honest, I think those community meetings we are now organizing for 2 months or 3 months, something like that. They are a bit like a dry run for this kind of stuff. I mean, we would be more than happy to host people who would like to do a presentation, to showcase a demo or whatever within the community meeting. So really feel free to join us on Discord to say, hey, I would like to showcase my demonstration or to showcase my use case on how we used Microcks in this way or that way. And I think when we will have content or materials coming from the community meetings, it would be a really nice insight, a really nice metric that let us say, hey, yeah, now we should set up something dedicated to Microcks, and we'll be sure we'll have external speakers as well.
Yeah, for the latest months, we have had a very nice boost regarding blog posts and articles who are dealing about Microcks. And as you said, Laurent, more than happy to join and contact us if you would like to showcase during this community meeting. Like if you check the previous version, I think it was community meeting number 3 or 4, I don't remember the number, but we have had a code-centric, a German consulting company who came in order to explain very nice blog post, free dedicated blog post to Microcks, what they are doing with Microcks, and the good one as well, feedback on Microcks. And that's very, very valuable for the community and the product itself. So check it out. And as Laurent said, just jump in, contact us up front. We can have dedicated agenda for people who would like to just showcase as well what they are doing with Microcks. Could be an article, a blog post, or a live demo. More than happy to do that. And we are starting to have quite a very decent amount of adopters now who can clearly explain the amazing stuff that they are doing with Microcks. Yeah, Dries, thanks. If you have any ideas, please jump on it, share it with all of us. More than happy to move forward on that. And Java, as you can imagine, that's something that is easily used, let's say, within the Microcks ecosystem.
Excellent. Yeah.
Cool. All right, I think we are close to the end of the hour. I don't know, Laurent, if there is any other specific topic you would like to share?
Yeah, I wrote about it into the wrap-up section of the release notes, but there is two, let's say, hot topics and hot discussions on the Microcks organization at the moment. The first one is about the future of the Microcks UI.
Yeah.
Because we are using a very outdated stack, and We are asking the community what could be the different options to move to something more modern. And the second one is about different topics and different ideas we had regarding our participation into Linux Foundation or Google Summer of Code mentorship programs. So if one of those topics are of interest for you, do not hesitate, jump right in. These are in the GitHub discussions that can be in the GitHub repository. So yeah, feel free to jump and just put your thumbs up or give your opinions on different topics. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. And join us on Discord as well if you prefer to do live chat. And
Yeah,
all this information, by the way, are on. Let me share my screen because maybe some people are not aware about that. So to make your life easier, just go on microcks.io, community about, and here you just have a link to join us on Discord, or the social network on which you can follow all the activities and latest news and so on. And also, of course, information on the events recording of events and so on, and community meeting, how to join. So feel free to check it out. We try to make it straightforward and easier. And by the way, check the stars. Only 10 are missing before we reach 1,500. So it could be amazing if we are able to have 10 new stars before the end of January. That's going to be an amazing way, let's say, to start the year. All right. I think we are ready to close online for an hour. Thanks all. Thanks, Adris, for joining us live. And let's stay in touch and looking forward your feedback, comments, and so on through all the communication channel we have available for the community. Thanks a lot.
thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, friends.